Ashish Kumar Chauhan works as the CEO of Bombay Stock Exchange. He's also serves on the board of directors of the Central Depository Services Limited, that is CDSL. Ashish ji has also the board of is on the board of governors of IIIT Jabalpur. He has been ranked amongst top 60 influential Gujaratis in the world by Chitralekha, a Gujarati magazine, for last 2 years. He's won national and international awards in providing the best IT solutions for different industries, and he has worked in including the stock markets, petrochemicals, telecommunications, and so on. He has worked as 5-member team set up and operate National Stock Exchange and set up the operated NSE's equity markets from 1994 to 2000. He was also instrumental in setting up initial information technology infrastructure, including the first commercial satellite telecom network in India for NSE. Wow, this is something amazing. Due to his work in setting up modern exchange traded financial derivatives in India at NSE, he has been known as the father of derivatives in Indian markets. He was instrumental in creating several innovations in the Indian capital markets. Mr. Ashish serves on several government regulatory committees currently, and it's indeed pleasure to have you, Ashish ji, with us. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation and gracing this occasion. And again, I would say Bombay Stock Exchange has been a continuous support to various initiatives of Mentor My Board. So thank you for helping us. Thank you for supporting us in all these initiatives. So over to you, Ashish ji, for your keynote address. Thank you.
Thank you, Divya ji. Thank you, Manisha ji. It's a pleasure and honor to be in front of you today. And it's heartening to know that there is a lot of interest among women in becoming directors, and to understand what it takes to be a successful director. I think so. I have a lot in terms of the corporate structure of India. BSE has more than 4,700 actively listed companies. Recently, over last several years, we have tried to bring diversity into the board with the help of the regulator, Securities and Exchange Board of India, which has mandated that large companies have to have at least one woman director. And now they have mandated that it's one woman independent director, not from the family, not connected to the family of the promoters. I think in some ways, that is basically showing the aspirations of a nation, which has various groups, including women's group like yours, trying to assert themselves in decision making. Ultimately, company, for a successful board member, or even for a successful employee, or for being a successful woman, you need to understand what is a company. Many times we take the structures that are given to us from childhood as given, as God given, as if they have no other purpose, but they are there as hurdles to us. In fact, all structures usually were invented for a particular purpose. So if you look at the history of companies, how did they evolve? And what do the companies do? Many of us, even the board members on many companies, even the experts in company law, may not be aware of the history of the companies. How did they evolve? What do they do? What are their purposes? In fact, when you start following the law, you may be what I call completely, you may get 100 out of 100 in law, but you may still fail in running the company. It's like reading about the bicycling. You can get 100 out of 100 marks in the paper, but you may still not know how to ride a bike. Riding a bike, in a way, requires a lot of balancing, while as writing exam, exams, and many times we kind of know who gets 100 out of 100 in exam is the best bicycle rider. He or she is not, right? It's the person who is able to ride the bike. And that if you look at, many of the women are now they comment anything, but the person who is playing on the ground has a lot his or her play at that moment, right? So as a person in your individual life, but also in corporate, even as a board member, that you need to balance and do it as per the situation. So companies for me are what I call creations of societies. They allow, I mean, a cat exists. Cat is a natural being. A
So we are losing
you
your
don't
voice in between.
human. Okay, let me come in through another connect. Just so.
Okay. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, we don't ask why a dog exists, why a cat exists, why a cow exists, why a human exists, but we must ask why a company exists. Because company does not exist naturally. Company exists because the society says this is called company, and then that once the company is given recognition, company becomes a legal person, different from the owners, you and me, different from the board, different from the management. And that perspective, you always have to keep in mind that company is not you, even if you're owner. Even if you're a board member, you are not the company. Even if you're CEO or MD, you are not the company. If you are a manager, you are not the company. Company is a different legal entity, which is being operated. It's like a child, right? A child gets a lot of money. Then the parents or other people are supposed to operate on behalf of the child. And that is how the company is a what I call artificial construct, a social construct, which is defined in our law. In all the laws and companies' histories, last 700 to 800 years, companies have existed in European areas, and they have been reason for the modern lifestyle, modern economic growth, which all of us have seen over 800 years. Before that, almost 99%, other than the aristocrats and some of the businessmen, almost 99% of the poor people used to stay in abject poverty in Europe also, in India also. Only the first 2-3% people used to have a great life. But the democratization of life, of wealth over last 700 years, and also the growth that has happened due to the construction of these companies, creation of these companies, because they allow unknown people to invest in those businesses and share in the revenue. So they create trust that a person sitting in Jammu or Dibrugarh or Jorhat or Osaka in Japan or Houston in America is investing money, his or her hard-earned money, in a factory in Coimbatore on a listed company in BSE. It's because he or she has a complete confidence that money will not go away. It will not be wasted. And if the company makes money by the hard work of the management, by the vision of the board, then that money will be shared amongst the proportionate part which you are owning as share. And so people across the world are trusting India's companies. Why it is? Because all those companies are performing great social duty. Of course, they do the commercial function, they provide jobs, which is very important for India, but they also create that trust amongst millions of people. Today, BSE has 6.86 crore investors. 6.86 crore investors is a huge number because each investor has a 3, 4, 5 people behind him or her in her family. And that makes it almost 30-35 crore people in India are investing now in Indian stock markets, directly or indirectly through mutual funds. And that is what is the beauty, that the markets allow you to bring literally myriad number of people to invest in markets, but they look up to whom in the company? Who do they look up to? They look up to the board. And if the board members don't understand that their job is to maintain that trust, and maintaining trust is a very, very subtle thing. trust is not easy to maintain. It's easy to break, but very difficult to create over sort of several years. And you have seen it in our relationships also. You have seen it in all parts. So the main purpose of the board is basically to create that trust, maintain that trust in not only in the employees, not only in the vendors, not only in the customers, but also in government agencies, because they are nowadays very powerful, and they also want their taxes out of you as a company, but also media, also your shareholders and everyone else. Of course, the company, whenever it earns money, it is for the benefit of its owners, which are shareholders. And the trustees are basically, or the board members are like trustees of their funds, who ensure that the money is used wisely and it's available more than they have to give back to the investors by way of dividends or by way of buyback of shares or many other ways. And that is what basically the board members have to understand, that your job is a responsible job, but you are not the company. It is like if you have a child, you have a responsibility to raise the child, but you are not the child. You may feel more than the child. If a child falls down, you will feel more than the child. But when child grows up, he or she is not going to be looking at you as him or her. Your responsibility is to raise the child. And similarly, as a board member, you have to continue to worry about what happens if this thing happens, what happens if this thing happens. So I think somebody before me talked about vision, that how the company's vision evolves. And vision is not my vision, my alone. Vision is not your alone if you're a board member. Vision is of everyone associated with the company. How do they think company should be doing? Which area it should be working on? And so on and so forth, right? And once that collective vision is created, it is presented to the board by the management. And then the company board may also ask questions, may modify that, may tell the company to come back, and company management to come back, because there is no company in a physical sense. So company management runs the company at the direction of the board. And what happens is the modern Indian laws have put in tremendous amount of authority into the board, but they also put in a lot of responsibility onto the board of directors. So if the board earlier, before Companies Act 2013, the board members usually wouldn't be responsible for many of the acts of the company if they were not participating actively into the those particular execution of the decisions. But now the new Companies Act and new regulations have ensured that all the board members, including women directors, are also responsible, even criminally liable, in case the company is not following the rules, regulations. That could be as simple as not paying the provident fund of the workers in time. That could be as simple as doing some foreign exchange transaction, which is illegal. And so you need to be aware of all the laws. If you are not aware, because nobody is Superman, nobody is aware of all the Indian laws and international laws, but you need to ask the management right questions. You need to ask for legal opinions where required. You need to basically be very compliance oriented. Many times people tell me that nowadays 90% of the time of the company boards go in just compliance. Why? Is because the onus on the company board of directors is now tremendous in following the laws, in addition to guide the company in the right direction, and also ensuring that the company remains profitable, for long, and so on and so forth. And of course, get the maximum value for its investors. But on top of that, now, if you become a board member on any company, you also have a responsibility to ensure that all laws of the country are followed. Of course, the media also can come after you if the company in which you are a board member is trying to or is found to be doing something wrong. It may not have done something wrong, but if there are rumors or if there are news which may be wrong, but still you may have your reputation getting sullied on that basis. So you need to be tremendously aware of all the things that go on with this great responsibility of becoming a board member. Becoming a board member and running sort of the board part of it, because boards usually meet once in a quarter. Sometimes they meet often, but usually they meet once in a quarter or twice in a quarter. So in 90 days, you will meet probably once or twice the management, listen to them, how the company is doing, what the competition is doing, what are the compliances which the company is making, what are the changes that are happening in the company's areas of operations, what's happening to the labor areas, what is happening to the raw material in case the company is into manufacturing, uh, and also what is happening to competition, what's happening to the technology, and so on and so forth. And then collectively, the board decides. Of course, the board also creates many committees which can meet even more often, of variety of things like nomination and remuneration committee or audit committee. And there are many statutory committees which need to be created. Also, non-statutory committees like business review committees are also created, so that a few of the board members who have time and who have also sufficient capabilities continue to discuss with management of what they are doing, where they're falling behind, where they are doing right things. They, of course, the board also approves budgets, signs on the accounts of the companies, which is one of the more interesting and important duties of the board. But effectively, any board member, any aspiring board member of a company must be aware of all the duties that go on with their responsibility. It's a great responsibility, whether it's a small company or a large company. But the responsibility is great. And I would urge all my fellow colleagues here who are listening to this, is that the modern society, the modern life has become feasible. The riches which many of us currently observe, even the poor people today are much richer than poor people say 500 years back, even 100 years back, is because of the corporate world. And if we can ensure that our corporates continue to work in the right earnest and in the right way, complying with all the laws, complying with all the expectations that people who are putting money in those companies, and also the media, the society, the vendors, everyone has, then we are going to create a new India, which is much more prosperous. We have come a long way in last 170 years since Indian Companies Act. In fact, it was not even Indian Companies Act. It was a British Act of Companies Act in 1850, which became applicable. And when India became independent in 1947, we had a new Companies Act, which was actually old Companies Act, but we adopted as a Companies Act in 1956. And then we created a new act in 2013. So effectively, we have come a long way. We have become much more transparent in the operations of the companies. We have become much more transparent in the operations of the board, board of directors, their meetings, what happens. All those things have become pretty much available to everyone who is interested. But more importantly, it is a great responsibility. It is a great onus. And also it puts a lot of pressure on the board member, because anything going wrong legally or otherwise, you can be personally liable, right? So not only from the exchange perspective, if you are listed, but also from the sort of various criminal proceedings perspective, various civil proceedings perspective, and for which the companies also take insurance, so that in case you are found to be sort of involved in the decision making, but you have applied your brain and you have done it bona fide, that is without any malice, without any planning to cheat anyone, then the insurance companies also pay the claims. So you don't have to worry in that sense if you have insurance from the company, but you still need to apply your brain and every item that is coming to the board for discussions and so on and so forth. And people who are aspiring to become board members, I may look like that I'm trying to frighten you into doing basically thinking 100 times before becoming a board member. It is not so. It is basically to ensure that you get a right perspective, that it's important to become a board member is an important sort of decision in your life, and to continue to remain a board member will also be an important decision in your life. So be aware that you have a great responsibility, but you also have personal obligations now when you become a board member, and try to gain as much information, as much knowledge about your company as possible, so that you are able to be a productive board member. With that, I think I'll stop here, and if you have any questions and if the time permits, we'll take the questions.
Thank you, Ashish ji, for your enlightening words and your keynote address. I'm sure, the way you narrated the journey of corporates, and very, very important factor which I see is that, they need to build on trust. And I have, been studying a lot of statistics when it comes to directors, when it comes to companies. And as you rightly said, the wealth creation is definitely happening through corporatization. And I was reading somewhere is that 7 crore businesses in India are run under SMEs and MSMEs. Out of these businesses, probably only 14 lakh, businesses have got still now into the corporate structure, which is registered with MCA, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. And we go down further, probably only 10,000 companies are listed on the exchanges. So I think we have a huge, task wherein the more and more corporatization happens, the more and more wealth gets created for the entire economy. And I think as the overall businesses move toward corporatization, role importance of directors is going to increase. The onus on the directors is going to increase. So very, very well pointed out. Thank you for enlightening here. And we have such a wonderful participants today who have been the directors of the companies, the professionals, the aspiring directors, and even the independent directors, executive directors, promoter directors with us. So your words of wisdom surely will enlighten all of us. And again, as the board leaders, I understand from your talk that being bona fide, being genuine, and true and honest in your behavior as a board leader will take you a long way. So thank you so much for being with us. And on behalf of entire team of Mentor board, I thank you for being here with us in spite of your busy schedule and taking out time for us.